Here we are in our Model Y. We have the month of full self-driving, so we're taking it out for a test drive and taking you along. Now, this is called full self-driving supervised, which means you are in control of the vehicle, but the vehicle will drive itself. So you have to have your hand on the wheel every once in a while. When I'm using this normally, my hands are always on the wheel. I have it off for purposes of the video, but you'll see me reach over and touch it every once in a while. So as soon as we started there, I put it in self-driving mode, and it is taking off on our planned route. We picked a route that goes through parts of a neighborhood, then onto the highway for a little bit, and then into a parking lot. You can see here it slowed down to go around the person who was walking in the street, and then picked back up. There's another tricky part here, as there is a speed bump. It's a little harder to see that my feet are not on the pedals, but they are not. They're close by in case I need to do anything, but that's it. So it slowed down here for the speed bump to take it comfortably, and then accelerates up the hill. I do find that FSD accelerates faster than I would, even on chill mode. Maybe I'm just a slow driver, but I have it beat into my head to conserve as much energy as possible. So here it turns left. I've also noticed that it stops for the stop sign where it should, but usually you can't see anything if you're behind that white line. And so it stops behind the white line, and then it will creep forward until it can actually see something. Here we're making a right turn at a stoplight. Probably could have snuck ahead right now, and I thought it might be going to, but then their light turned green, so I guess it's nice that we didn't. A human probably would have just gone for it. And then here, I did expect it to turn right, but it didn't. So there was no right on red, which was okay. There was nobody waiting behind me to turn. And I thought there it could go again. It just was not interested in doing right on red at this light for some reason. That person ran the red light, but it waited for them, and here we go. This is a school zone. It's not flashing now, so it doesn't matter, but I've been curious to drive through here when those lights are flashing to see if it would slow down to 20. I expect that it would, based on other experiences, but I have not tested that for sure. The way the speed limit works is it does read the signs as it drives past, and you can set how you want to react to those speed limit signs. So I think I have, for example, it set to 10% over, I believe is what I have it picked. This is a little bit of a tricky spot because there are sort of two lanes. There's two lanes immediately after, and there's like a lane and a half right before the light, but it got over nicely so that there was room for two cars. This is a busy part of the road here, as there's a intersection followed immediately by the stoplight, and we need to be in the right lane, which it does nicely. And then this entrance ramp, you have to choose between a fork, and there's an HOV lane as well. So we're in the correct lane, but we need to get over one lane. It waited just long enough that I wondered if it was going to do it, but then it did. This is one of those spots where it can be a little awkward. Now, because if somebody behind me saw that I wasn't getting over as soon as the normal crowd does, and I was going a little slower than normal, they might have pulled into that left lane and started to pass me. And then I'm stuck because I need to get over. So that's what I'm talking about when I say it's just a little bit awkward socially sometimes, where a human would be conveying what they mean a little bit more clear to other drivers. Our merge was easy here. There was nobody behind us that we had to take into account. So it merges in, gets up to speed, and we just have a short blast here on the interstate before we get off at the next exit. I do like that it puts a message up on the screen anytime the turn signal comes on. It tells you why it's coming on. And so it'll say, for example, on this trip, it said, changing lanes to take the fork in the road to continue navigation or something like that. But it will also say changing lanes to stay out of the fast lane or changing lanes to pass slower traffic. Here we took the fork to the right. It does not do anything to avoid potholes as far as I can tell. That is annoying to me. I wish that it did. So here the left lane is HOV to stay on the interstate. The middle lane that we're in will fork and you can choose left or right, and then the right lane is exit only. I would normally be in the right lane already, but you can turn right from both lanes here. I didn't know which one it was going to pick. I thought maybe it was just going to turn right from this lane, but then it decided to get into the right lane. Again, kind of a late change. There was nobody around, so it was fine. I would have felt awkward if there was people around. So here I wondered if it was going to do right on red, and it did. I don't know why it wasn't doing it at the previous one. Maybe there was just too many other cars around, but it did it. And man, it accelerates quickly. So it pulled the tripod back a little bit, and my backseat helper got it back into position. So we moved over 2 lanes very quickly there to get in the left turn lane. That was good. And then this is easy. Just wait for the light to turn green, and it takes off. I do find it's less scared of other drivers. Like that driver was not slowing down coming at us. And previous experience I've had just with the autopilot is that or even the traffic aware cruise control is that it will brake if anybody's doing anything a little bit awkward. And it does less of that, which I find nice. So here we're at our destination. It puts a message up on the screen and says you can take over now. And so I am driving again at this point for the first time in this whole video. And now I want to demonstrate self-parking. I don't know exactly how to engage self-parking. I haven't done this. This is only the second time I've ever done it. A button comes up on the screen there and you can press it. I think at that point I should have just hit reverse and chosen the parking spot. But I drove ahead too far, so I have to get it closer to the spot again, I guess. Anyway, hit the button a few times. There we go. Now I'm in the right mode and it will back in. I was on the right path and it took off the path, and so it kind of has to correct the other way. But it does get in there on the first try, and we were pretty well centered in the lines. This is the smart summon demonstration. So the car will drive to you. There is nobody in the car, but it shows me where the car is, and then I push the button that says come to me. Now I have to hold that button down the entire time. If I let up at any point, the car will stop within a second or so. And so I can see how fast the car is driving. It was using its turn signal. I can see that, and it drives to me. And so you keep holding it, and it is creepy watching your car drive to you, especially at the end, because it turns right at me because it wants to pick me up without me even having to take a step. So it makes a few corrections right at the end. And eventually stops there for us to pick up.